Hello and a very warm welcome to another Manufacturer in Profile. This week's subject is A&M EDM, which recently was SME of the Year runner-up at the Make UK Midlands and East Awards. Melvin Wingfield is the director of the company. Melvin, welcome to the programme.
Nick, thanks, and thank you for welcoming me on.
Now then, for anybody who doesn't know A&M, give us a bit of background about what you do.
We're a hostage to fortune with our name. In 2002, when we started, we were principally a wire erosion shop, wire and spark erosion shop. But in the 18 years since, we've developed into an all-round precision engineering company with two separate sites, about 150 metres apart. The one site is principally still an EDM shop, whereas the other site is wholly CNC and conventional milling, turning and grinding. We also offer a full metrology suite. We have laser welding. We've got a small fabrication section. We like to think we're a one-stop shop for our customers.
And who are your customers? Which sectors do you serve principally?
Across a range of industry. One of the strengths of our offering is it crosses industries. We're in aerospace, automotive, Formula One, medical, North Sea oil and gas, jewellery, a whole range of industries. It's quite an eclectic mix, which is both a strength, but it can sometimes stretch us a little bit. But we're across all industries.
Well, talking of being stretched, obviously the entire sector has been affected by the pandemic. Some people have come through it quite well. Others have obviously taken a hit. What happened to A&M? What is happening? Because, of course, the pandemic, as we know, is ongoing.
In the lead up, we were a little bit blasé. When it was restricted to Wuhan, we thought there were opportunities that we could capitalise on. It's an ill wind, as they say. When it arrived in Italy, we started making contingency plans within the business of how we could support our workers. This is before Sunak's first announcement on the furlough scheme. So we were trying to allay any concerns within the workforce that we had, that we could support them through a range of measures, taking holidays, time banking, and a whole range of measures. Fortunately, the announcement by the Chancellor in March alleviated some of those concerns. We've used the furlough scheme somewhat sparingly. We have worked throughout the pandemic. We contributed to the ventilator challenge back in April. We made parts for that, and we have continued to work. We've seen a slight reduction in our orders, as one would expect, as the economy has slowed down. But we're still optimistic, but cautiously so, given the second outbreak and the noises that are coming out now at the moment.
Now, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic, but let's look back before then, because you have actually experienced some pretty dramatic growth in the last few years. Tell us a bit about that and what drove it.
Again, there are no secrets. Nothing I'm going to say is going to surprise anybody, but it's been opportunistic. It's spotting gaps. So if I go back to the last major economic downturn, 2008, 2009, we actually recruited some labour at that point because there was a lot of skilled craftsmen available in the market then, as there are now. So we took on a number of people. Normally an SME struggles to recruit and retain the skilled labour. But being aware of opportunities and taking those opportunities, which is one of the strengths of an SME, because it has the scale and the size to be agile and to react to changes in the marketplace. Equally, we've diversified again, as I already explained, the different sectors of the markets that we cover. We've invested heavily to support some of our customers, and we'd like to think in a traditional sense, not in some glib marketing sense, but that we've got partnerships with our customers. But we realise what that involves, and it involves some commitment on both sides of the partnership to make sure the partnership works.
You have also, quite apart from investing heavily in developing your capacity and your capabilities, you've also worked quite closely with the high-value manufacturing Catapult and the AMRC. Tell us what they did for you.
We were working with a material called Inconel. And as all engineers will know, the properties of Inconel are such that when you machine it, it gets tougher. We had a large project on that we needed to make sure we delivered both on time and on budget. It involved some of our engineers going up to the AMRC at Sheffield to see how we could utilise speeds and feeds to work with Inconel. The knowledge transfer wasn't one way. We gained a great deal from our involvement, a great deal. But equally, the engineers and the staff at the AMRC also benefited from discussing different strategies and different techniques with the engineers that attended the course.
Melvin, as well as investing very heavily, as I've just mentioned earlier, in your capacity and your capabilities, you have also invested very heavily in your workforce, in your leadership and skills. Tell us about that and why you felt it's important to actually have a sort of whole company investment going forward.
Yeah, the simple answer is there was a skills gap, a huge skills gap. Going back to the 1980s, where we undervalued manufacturing, massively undervalued the role of manufacturing. As everybody's aware, Smethwick is at the cradle of the Industrial Revolution. There's a huge tradition of manufacturing in the area that we're in. That skill set has transferred down generations, but from a period in the 1980s, there was a gap. We struggled, again, like many companies, to recruit the skilled people, so we decided to grow our own. We've invested heavily with apprenticeships. Some have moved on to other companies. The majority have stayed with us. But there's got to be a career path for those young people. They've got to see that there's an industry that will last them their lifetime. Where I am on the in the labour market now at my age, it's not that important. It's hugely important for people that have started with us. They need to know that this company will outlive the involvement of its founders, and that there's a career that they can follow and provide for their families.
Tell us finally about exporting, because I know that you've really developed a pretty strong export component to your business, and it's going very well, I understand.
Yep, we've got a sector that we're in for small heavy fuel engines. They're used in all sorts of operations. UAV engines, for example. They're also used in generator packs. And we've got a niche in the market that, if we're fortunate and if we can meet the expectations of our customers, hopefully we can exploit. At the moment, we do some work into Europe. We've gone further afield than that, and recently with an Australian company. And we're looking to grow that market in other areas as well.
Do you think exporting actually is going to be a key part of your future, given obviously that there's going to be quite a dislocation coming up in 2021 post-Brexit?
Certainly for our European partners. I've got concerns there for the lag. I mean, it works both ways. We export to what is now the European Union member states, but equally we import from them our machines. We have spindle heads that come in. If a spindle head goes and we can't get just-in-time deliveries, next-day deliveries with their engineers on site, there are huge problems for us, not just us, but for other people in the sector as well. The interconnectedness of the past 40 years will take a long time to unravel. And in unravelling, I've got huge concerns and reservations about the short-term impacts on our industry.
Otherwise, though, you're feeling pretty good about the future for A&M. Well,
all things being considered, I mean, we're living through a tumultuous time. That's not a secret. Everybody will tell you the same thing. This unknown and the length of time of this unknown that we've got is not like any other major economic downturn. Normally in an economic cycle, you can look at history, look how long the downturn lasts, look at other economic indicators to see when the upturn's going to come. You can't do that this time. We still don't know when we're going to be at the bottom of the pandemic before the upturn comes. One I will remain optimistic. By the very nature that you're in business, you have to be optimistic. Because if you were pessimistic, you wouldn't come in every day. We do think there's an opportunity. We think there's a fabulous opportunity for young people in this industry. Not necessarily with our company, with this industry. This industry has a great future. And we need to convince policymakers that this industry is important to the well-being of this country.
Well, all I can say to that, Melvin, is hear, hear. And all the very best of luck to you and everyone at A&M. Thank you very much for being with us.
Nick, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
This has been Manufacturer in Profile from ZenootTV. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye for now.